So a couple of days ago, as I came back home from my weightlifting workout, I thought to myself that, you know what? I should sit down and I should plan out what I'm gonna do for my next workout, right? I wanted to change things up a bit. So I was looking at all of the exercises I could throw in, replace, perhaps maybe do something I've never done before. And that's when I get the thought, wait a minute. When was the last time I've done one-hand push-ups? Because now that I've thought about it, right? Over the past 1.5 years of training, I never actually bothered even trying one-arm push-ups, right? That was just like a random exercise I never even thought of. But since I started to add push-ups into my routine, I thought, you know what? I might actually have enough strength to do it. So I get up, I go to the kitchen, because that's about the only room where I have enough space to do this, right? So I get down, I place the camera, and I tried. Went down pretty smoothly, honestly. For my first ever attempt on one-arm push-ups, this was actually pretty good. I did like 3 on my stronger hand and like 1 on my right one. Keep in mind, there was like no warm-up, no nothing, like literally nothing, right? I got up from my room, went to the kitchen, started doing push-ups, right? And it was pretty good. I got the idea that I should go on a Discord server and ask the guys here if I'm doing the technique right, because... Wait, what the fuck's actually happening? Because when sometimes my friends are busy and, I don't have anybody else to ask whether if I'm doing an exercise correctly, I'll just go on any self-improvement Discord server and I'll just ask people if I'm doing my technique right. So I go there, I send my video, and within just a couple of minutes, this one guy in particular shows up and he just tells me, yeah, you're doing it good, just make sure you're not doing this, and that, blah, 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 it doesn't matter, right? Cool. And the catch, however, is that a couple of minutes later, around 10 or 20 minutes or so, right? I get a DM from the same guy who gave me advice on my push-up, and he asked me how much I weigh. So I got onto the weight scale and I weighed myself, right? To prove my point, I'm actually gonna weight myself right now. So let me just step on that thing for a bit. Usually my weight is around like 66 to 68 kilograms, right? Yep. It said exactly 67, so I'm right in between of what I just said, right? So that's what I tell him. I show him the weight. I text him it's like 66 to 68. It varies throughout the day, right? And the first thing that this dude says, I'm stronger than you, look at you, fucking dumbass. Like, the best part, it was so random. Suddenly out of nowhere, he just started to like boast about how he's quote unquote better than me, even though he didn't share how much he weighs. He didn't tell me how many push-ups he does. It was so random, right? So I just text him like, okay, you do you. And within just a couple of minutes, right, he started to like text me some bullshit. He texted me how, oh yeah, the guy who's gonna humble you isn't gonna be humble. This is the quote he used, right? I just unironically found that so like funny. But that's when I realized that there are people out here who actually have this mindset, where they walk around with this fake big dick energy, like comparing themselves to others. And this is what I mean when I say that comparing yourself is bad. You can be smart about comparing yourself. There are like some logistical, mathematical, I guess, like scenarios where it's actually like functional to compare yourself, right? But most of us don't compare ourselves that way. We really, really, really like to get that feeling of knowing that we are quote unquote better than somebody else, right? And I'm gonna tell you a story to back that up from my own experience, because a couple of months ago, back in 2023, when I was like really grinding on the basketball court, trying to earn my spot on my high school's basketball team, because I show this almost every video because I like this shirt a lot, but as if it was hard to tell, right? Yeah, I really like basketball, and the main goal at that point in time was to work my way up towards not even the starting lineup. I wasn't thinking that ambitious. I just wanted to get on the team, right? So I had this reputation between my younger friends that I was a good player, right? I'm just gonna tell you the downright truth. I'm not shit, but I'm really not that good as people like to think I am, right? At least that's my perspective. And I was teaching these younger guys like a thing or two. I was just showing them around, showing them tricks, things that they can do when they're in this situation, how to like shoot properly, because most of them have like a terrible jump shot, even though mine's not the best either, but that doesn't matter, right? They've grown to the conclusion that because I'm giving them advice, I'm mainly better than them, right? However, very quickly, once we all earned our spots on the team, because guess what, your boy was like at the very back of the bench, whilst the rookies that I was helping were actually like way above me. They were actually getting minutes whilst I was like barely playing, right? And things went south the moment I stepped on the court, because I remember it like it was yesterday. I stepped on like the court. I think it was like the fourth quarter of like a game that we've already won. That was like my debut on the team, right? I step in, they pass me the ball. The very first play, I fuck shit up. They steal the ball. I remember it like it was yesterday, but I don't remember exactly what happened, right? I just remember that the guy stole the ball from me and they scored, and the whole like crowd that was there was wheezing and they were like laughing and shit. And the guys who I used to coach, right? The guys who I used to help out with, they looked at me as if like they lost their hero, right? And from that point on, I just like started to think to myself, oh my God, I had this one bad game. That just means that I'm terrible overall. I'm a shitty player. Why am I even playing this game anymore? I started like I started to think about retiring from basketball. I didn't want to play it anymore just because I had this one game that made me feel bad, right? And at that point in time, I quickly started to compare myself, but in a negative way. Just because of that one negative experience, I let it define how I'm going to act on the court later down the line. It dropped my confidence a lot. And oftentimes we like to compare ourselves to get that gratification that we're better than somebody. But does it necessarily mean we are? Now, I don't want you to mistake comparison with competition, right? Every self-improvement YouTuber will tell you that, oh yeah, competition is a very masculine thing. And I agree with that. However, there are boundaries to it. Of course, a little bit of friendly competition is nice, but I don't like to compete in things that aren't supposed to be competitive, right? If I'm in a basketball game where my whole team's playing and it's like an official thing where we have to win, of course, it's literally about competing with the other team. But basketball is a hobby for me. I'm not trying to go to the NBA. It's something that I'm supposed to do for fun, right? And that comparison, this mindset of constantly like comparing myself to literally anybody, and if I'm worse at this one attribute than this one random dude I've just met, that means I'm a terrible player overall. That played with my mind a lot. And it turned what used to be a hobby for me, something that was fun, something that I love to do, it turned it into a obsession, really. It turned into something that was more of a task, something I had to do, rather than something that was supposed to be just fun, right? And let's think of that guy who I talked about in the beginning, right? This weirdo that showed up on my DMs on Discord bragging about how he's better. Better at what? Better at what? Because he has more weight than me? Is he better? Because he can do, I don't know, like half a push-up more than I can? Like, what's the initiative behind this? He doesn't know me. And like, I don't know him. I don't know how much he had to go through to get to a one-arm push-up. And he doesn't know how much I had to go through to get into a one-arm push-up. Brother, I've been training for 1.5 years by now. When I started lifting weights, I weighed exactly 54 kilograms. I was the size of my arms were as skinny as, I don't fucking know, a golf bat. My arms were like golf bat. They were skinny, right? It took me a long time to get my strength up. And here you are trying to compare yourself with somebody who's been lifting for years. This is probably the most common example of comparing yourself incorrectly. People like to compare their beginnings with somebody's end game. Why are you comparing yourself at 3 months of going to the gym, for example, to somebody who's been training for years? The internet has ruined your perception on all of this stuff, and it's so crazy to sit there and just observe at how people behave around each other, how hungry they are for that validation that, oh yeah, I'm better than you. It's like, okay, is that it? And as I just said, don't mistake competition with comparison, right? Even comparison on its own can be very good if you use it like logistically. For example, let's say you're a small YouTuber and you see some big guy that has all the things you want, right? I used to do this with Shaman Davis all the time. There's this one guy who I love watching, right? Even some guys in the comments pointed out that I'm similar to him, that my content's a little bit similar, right? When I found his channel, the first time I looked at it, I used to think that this random dude on the internet has everything I wanted. He had a lot of subs, a lot of views, a lot of good videos, blah, blah, blah. Whilst I was out there like starving with 30 views per video. And that was the mindset I had. Instead of actually learning from him and many other YouTubers that I used to look up to, right? I used to look up to like almost every guy in the niche, like Shaman Davis, Jack Pickett, Hamza. I know all the names you do, right? We're really not that different. And I used to look at these guys and instead of actually taking lessons from them, watching, like analyzing what they're doing to make my own content better, I used to just sit there and fucking boast about how, why am I worse than them? Well, that's not really, that's not really boasting, that's more of comparing, but fair enough, you get what I mean, right? I genuinely don't think that's a good thing to do. A lot of people will argue that, oh yeah, comparing yourself is good, competing is good, but they don't understand the difference between the two. Now, I came to the difference myself, right? I came up with this on spot, and that's just the way that I like to think about it. So if you disagree with me, go ahead and put it in the comments. I'll be delighted to start a debate on this topic. But I'm just going to say it again. I genuinely don't think it's a good thing to do. When has comparing yourself in the way that I've just described, like, ever benefited you in anything? It can give you a little bit of motivation, true. I mean, I used to compare myself to channels that were similar in size before I blew up, and that actually drove my motivation to upload daily. But I used it in a good way. I didn't compare myself for the sake of comparing myself, and I didn't have the mindset that, oh yeah, if I'm worse than this guy, if I have 20 subs less, that means I'm a shitty YouTuber. No. I learned that lesson, and I adapted it. I let it adapt into my way of living. Is that a proper sentence? I genuinely don't know at this point. Yeah. I hope you found value in this. I genuinely hope that you will change the way you think and look at things just from this one quick lesson, right? Don't randomly compare yourself to people you don't know. I really like this saying I copied from Shaman Davis. I'm just going to tell you. Don't compare your beginning to somebody else's ending. Is that even a Shaman Davis quote? No, I copied it from some guy on YouTube. I don't even remember the video, right? This is like, yeah. If you learned something valuable today and you want to talk to me directly, whilst hanging around the best community on Discord, on the whole internet, fuck, I'm just going to say, we have people doing backflips on our weekly calls. It's insane out here, right? If you want to be a part of that, you will not miss out, okay? So just click the first or second link in the description. I don't fucking know. I'm not going to plug shit into your face. And click all the videos if you want to. As I just said, not going to force you to do anything. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one, brothers. So, take care.